welcome to Family Time Wellness Wednesday Workshop. I'm Linda Ankner, and today I am bringing you a back-to-school meal planning refresh. So, the transition from summer schedules to fall schedules can be a little bit overwhelming. And if your family is like my family, we are not quite as busy during the summer. We don't have as many after-school activities, obviously, and so meal planning kind of takes on a bit of a relaxed approach. The beginning of the school year always kind of catches me off guard, and sometimes it takes a week or two for me to get back into the swing of things with a more kind of rigid meal plan. So today, I want to help you have a smoother transition into your fall schedules. So I'm going to go through the 4 steps that I use for a more efficient meal planning. I'm also going to give you some pro tips and provide you with a few resources and tools to help make your meal planning go a lot easier. So the first step in efficient meal planning is to get your calendar out. And this could be a paper calendar, it could be a digital calendar, whatever works for you. But what you want to do is fill in your calendar with all of your weekday activities for everyone in your family. With my digital calendar here, I like to color code the different events, so it's a little bit easier when I'm just kind of looking at it from like a snapshot view. But the reason that we do this is so that you can get a clear picture of what the weekday schedule looks like and what days that you can plan certain meals. On the days that you're really busy, you know you're not going to want to plan a meal that's going to take a long time to make. So that's like a really smart idea, is to go ahead and fill in your calendar with all of your activities. When you're looking at the calendar, what you want to go ahead and do too is fill in the days that you know that you may need to eat out or order in, pick up food on the way home, or even schedule your leftovers. So if there's a day that, say, maybe everyone's not getting home till 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you know that's going to be really late to be cooking a heavy meal, maybe that's the day that you know you're going to swing by and pick something up on the way home, or you're going to reheat leftovers from earlier in the week. And it's a nice idea to just go ahead and have that plugged into your calendar as well. So once you've created your calendar, the next step is to actually build your menu plan. And what I'm going to suggest here is to go ahead and plan about a 2 to 3 week menu cycle, ideally 3 weeks. And I know that that sounds a little overwhelming and like quite a bit of work to plan out 3 weeks of menus. But the thing with this is, in the long run, it's going to end up saving you quite a bit of time, because you're not going to have to sit down once a week and plan out your meals for the week. You could essentially have this same rotating menu for the entire school year, or maybe switch it up in the springtime when you're going to maybe do different kind of lighter menus, that sort of thing. And what I found with my family, that 3 weeks is an adequate amount of time to rotate through some recipes and menus without them feeling like they're having it all the time. And if you do notice some recipes getting stale, or the family complaining about having something too often, you can go ahead and plug in recipes here and there and just sort of switch them out. But you're not having to plan every single week, which is going to save you quite a bit of time. The other thing here that could be really helpful is, as you're creating your meal or your menu plan, is to create theme nights. So maybe have a pasta Monday or a taco Tuesday, and this just helps keep you organized and helps to plug in recipes a little faster when you're planning out your menu cycles. And something like tacos and pastas, there's so many different varieties that it doesn't have to be the same type every week. So maybe the first week your Taco Tuesday is traditional ground beef tacos. The second week maybe it's fish tacos. And the third week maybe you alternate between hard and soft tacos. And the same with your pasta. So once you have your menu cycle created, then you're going to go ahead and generate yourself a grocery list and head to the grocery store. Now this you probably will need to do once a week. I don't know if I recommend shopping for 3 weeks, but what I want to suggest here also is when you do your grocery shopping, make sure that you are adding a few staple items to have on hand in case you need to kind of pivot your plan at the last minute. And some of these things could be keeping frozen foods like chicken nuggets, fish sticks, fish fillets, frozen vegetables, Canned items like canned produce, canned beans, rice, pasta, something that you could easily throw together and create a healthy meal without any kind of prep work if something happens and the schedule changes. So a super easy last minute freezer staple meal that you could do is a sheet pan chicken with vegetables. So just take a few frozen chicken patties, a bag of frozen vegetables, add a little bit of olive oil and seasoning, put that on a sheet pan, and it's in the oven and out of the oven in 15 to 20 minutes, and super fast. So once you've got your list created, you've gone to the grocery store, the last step for really being efficient in your meal planning is to do a little bit of meal prepping. And for me, meal prepping means doing something ahead of time that's going to make the actual cooking of the meal go a lot easier and a lot faster. So maybe that's chopping up your vegetables. I like to go ahead and chop all of my onions and bell peppers up over the weekend when I have more time, and keeping them in containers kind of like this so that I can just grab them and toss them into my recipes, because for me the chopping takes up quite a bit of time. You could also go ahead and prep out any other produce or meat that you need for during the week. This could be, if you're doing a stir fry or a sheet pan dinner, you could go ahead and chop up your vegetables or marinate your meat and keep that in airtight containers in the refrigerator, and then just grab them when you're ready to put them together. Another really great time-saving prep idea is to make casseroles over the weekend or when you have time, and keep them in the refrigerator or freezer so that those are easy to pull out and reheat throughout the week. So to recap, the 4 steps for meal planning are to create your calendar and fill it in with all of your activities, to also take a look and see when you may want to schedule your leftovers or dining out, create your menu cycles, and use theme nights to help. Generate your grocery list and shop, and make sure that you keep some freezer staples and pantry staples on deck all the time. And then weekend meal prep, or it doesn't necessarily have to be the weekend. If you've got a day during the week that you have more time, anything prepping ahead of time is going to be a great resource for you. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is a couple of different tips and some tools that I use that I have found to be really helpful. The first thing is, I just want to remind you, I've talked a lot about kind of these convenience foods, fresh and frozen, pre-made foods. You can provide a nutritious meal for your family without everything being 100% homemade. So meal planning and meal prepping doesn't have to be homemade. So using some of these items that I mentioned can save time, can save sanity, and in some cases may even save money. Frozen and canned green beans have the same nutrient content. They have the same vitamins and minerals as their fresh counterparts. So they're perfectly fine to use. And the other thing is, I always like to suggest to my clients and my friends to get your kids involved as much as you can through the cooking process or the meal planning process. Having them help, it serves a lot of different purposes, but it also helps to create healthy habits and behaviors that they can take as they get older. It helps them become more familiar in the kitchen and things like that. So that's really great. And there's a lot of age-appropriate things that you can do for your kids. Anything from having them help pick out recipes, to help you grocery shop and pick out produce, helping you prep over the weekend, or if your child is old enough and you're comfortable with them being unsupervised in the kitchen, maybe have your kid every couple of days or once a week actually start the meal or cook the meal that you've prepped. That could be a really good help and a really good way to beef up their own skills in the kitchen. Some tools that I have found helpful for me are definitely meal planning apps. There are a ton of apps out there. Most of them have free and paid versions. I typically just use a free version, and I've kind of rotated through a few different ones based on what I need and features that they offer. When you're looking for a meal planning app, it's a good idea to look for one that has a robust recipe list, has the option for you to add your own recipes or upload your own recipes, and will generate a shopping list for you. You want to have those 3 things in the app that you choose. Some of the apps that I've really enjoyed have been Mealime, Big Oven, and Food Planner. And these all have free versions, which I've only used the free version, but you could also upgrade to a paid version for more features if you need that. If you are a little bit old school and prefer something on paper, or maybe you don't want to add another app, that of course is understandable, and I've got some templates that you can download. The link is in the comments below, and they'll link over to some PDF templates. I have this one that's just really nice. It's a weekly list, and you can plan out the meals, create a shopping list. Down here you can even keep track of your food servings, so that's really great. I also have a template for a list version, which is just a little more simple, or a blank calendar that you can use to plan your meal or to plan out your family calendar. The other things or kitchen tools that are really helpful, which I suggest that you invest in at least one if you haven't already, a slow cooker, an Instapot, and or an air fryer. All 3 of these are really going to help save you time in the kitchen. You definitely don't need all 3. Using one, whichever one you prefer, can really help, and you can find a ton of recipes that coincide with whichever one that you prefer. The other thing that's really helpful, especially if you're going to be prepping, is to make sure that you have adequate containers. So you want, what I kind of like, containers that are sectioned and that have a really solid lid to keep everything airtight. It keeps your food safe and keeps everything really fresh. I also like some of the glass containers, smaller containers like this, that I'll use sometimes for when I've already planned out or prepped out some of my vegetables, or to marinate meat in and things like that. But I have a few suggestions for you as well. In the comments, you can link over to 2 of my favorite meal prepping glass containers. They are a multi-pack, and they come with single, double, and triple divided sections, so you can use them for all different things in the kitchen. So go ahead and link to that at in the comments, so it'll take you straight over to Amazon. And then lastly, I have my own menu planning services that I can offer you. I work with families on a pretty regular basis to help create customized meal plans. And with that, you'll get a 1-hour consultation with me where we'll really sit down and talk about your family's schedule, nutritional preferences, any kind of allergies that your family has, anything like that. And then I create a 3-week meal plan for your family: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. It also comes with full recipes and a shopping list. So if you are interested in that or have more questions about that, please feel free to comment or send me a direct message. I appreciate that. So that is it for the meal planning. And I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you are able to use some of these tips and tools and resources as you segue into your fall busier routines. Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you at our next Wednesday workshop.